So it's been such a fun week. I just can't believe it's gone so fast.
I know, it really has.
I know.
Yeah.
It really has.
Do we need to do a sound
So
check, Steve? We ready for a sound check?
The one
Okay.
okay. We're going to do a sound check.
Kathy.
Live from Friday morning in Weatherford, Texas.
Quilt Talk!
QuiltTalk!
Yay!
Woo!
So,
Last day.
Aw,
it's been such a
I
sweet
know.
week
Oh,
with you girls. It's been
sweet.
so good.
Oh, so good.
TJ's Donuts are the best in Weatherford.
Steve didn't make us breakfast this morning, so
No.
we had to.
He didn't make us breakfast, but he did get in the car and drive 15
He
minutes.
did.
to
I
get
know, that was nice of him.
there and back. Cause we're
That
in
was
the
really
country,
sweet
so.
of him to do.
These are great donuts.
So-
Just a sweet, sweet person.
What about the bacon?
Oh, yes.
We did have
and
bacon.
Oh, we did get
Yeah,
bacon, Steve.
yeah.
You cooked bacon on the grill.
Yes.
Are you going to get
Oh,
this
we're ready
rolling?
now.
Oh, we're ready.
Oh,
Live?
oh,
All right, get this moved on.
Okay,
Okay,
wait
you
a
guys are
minute.
getting a little bit of bloopers and behind the scene here. He's already started our video. We didn't even know. We thought we were
Fooling around.
fooling around, playing around. Anyway, so glad that you guys have joined us for Quilt Talk this week. When you get Kay and Kathy here, you just never know what to expect. Crazy things are going to happen. And we've gotten so many emails from everyone about how much they've learned and how they've laughed out loud, and that other people in the house have come in to see what they're laughing about. So, I don't know. It's, oh, you said Dress Down Friday, but
Yes.
so we've got our
Kind of a
t-shirts
dress down,
on.
did we?
I've got my gray.
I didn't get the memo.
Well, I didn't get it the other day. You're fine, though.
I
You
get
look good.
Yeah, so
Of
here's,
course I do.
yeah, here's you have to go and change.
I'm banned.
So we've had some requests for a couple of things today. We love when you do that. So we've got our stuff all laid out here of what we're going to show you and teach you. We're going to do some demos, talk about products for those of you that are brand new. Of course, all week we have been talking about Quilt Club Week, which is the first week of October. And Kay and Kathy have been here doing their filming. And, you know, we talk about throughout the year when we think of something, oh, that would be good for Quilt Club Week, and we keep a list, and then as it comes, you know, the year comes around and we get closer, we fine tune that and hone that and everything and get that going. But I don't always know how you guys are going to present stuff. It can be scary. You know, and exactly, you know, will it be something that everyone loves? Does it teach? Is it fun? You know, and the Quilt Club Week is an
You
opportunity.
just said everything's fun with them.
Well, I know it is. They never fail to bring it. Let me tell you.
She doubts.
I know. Well, everybody has a down day, you know. But anyway, I've lost my total.
Oh dear, sorry.
No,
it
so
always
anyway.
comes through. We always
Yeah.
do a good job.
So the
Yes.
girls are up here, you know, they're getting their stuff out, and we're talking about what we're going to film and telling Steve what cameras we want and where we're going to move around and everything. And I'm over here with my little pencil and notebook making notes. Okay, we need to remember we download this, or that we have the Roxanne glue ready because,
Right.
you know, you talked about that and how, you know, that pattern, how are we going to handle that pattern? Is it, you know, whatever. So I'm making all these notes, and, you know, so I'm not always just right in there like a student, you know,
Right.
watching.
Watching.
But you guys probably saw me get up out of the chair and come over
Yes.
several times, like, oh no, are we in trouble? Is she getting, you know, but you've drawn me in, and even though I maybe was sidetracked, you know, with my own responsibilities
Right.
during the filming, you know, but you several times I caught myself getting up and coming over to look more in depth at what you guys were teaching. It was something I didn't know, or it was something I wanted to refresh my memory on. So, in the point of saying all of that is that you guys are really going to love. The girls really brought it. They did a good job, and they get an A.
Even Steve, one time Steve's over here looking at us and he's not moving the camera.
Yeah, a couple of times we're like,
He's
okay, Steve,
watching
you need
us.
to move the camera because he's gotten up here. and
He's
gotten
over
kinda-
here.
Or when we're done, he'll make a comment about, well, why
What
didn't
can-
you put it together like that instead of
Yeah,
putting it together like this? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then we talked about why we did or didn't, or, oh yeah,
Or we
let's
just-
film that. That's
yeah,
another
yeah,
good
that's a good
version
thing,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So that's been really
I
fun.
mostly say computer said no.
Sometimes
says
the computer say no. Yeah. So anyway, Kay and Kathy have been here this week to film for Quilt Club Week, some final things, and we've been doing Quilt Talk, and it's Quilt Talk. We do want to demo and teach and tell you about stuff, but Quilt Talk is Quilt Talk. It's for fun. It's for laughter. It's to to have
Rev you
fun.
up and get you
Yeah,
going.
get you motivated and help you believe that you can do it. So when we do our videos for teaching, they are structured, they are fine-tuned. There's not all
Right.
this.
There's
Yeah.
not a lot of.
Nonsense and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You guys are still always
Yeah, we still batter back and forth.
But you do get your teaching
Yeah,
and your
right.
of how to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's two brains is better than one. So
We
you
play
know,
off of
we
each
kind
other.
of play off of each other, and
Yeah.
we're very good at that because if
Yeah.
I
We've done
can't
it
remember
forever.
a word,
Mhm.
she knows
I
what
know
I'm
the word
thinking.
she's looking for.
sometimes there's just a noun
There's
that
just-
just doesn't
It's
flip.
like, get it out.
Flip in there, flip in there, flip in there.
Right.
Okay, so we've had some requests on stuff. So Quilt Club Week is, I've got some stuff here, Steve. The grandes and the other extra rulers I don't have.
They want to see everything.
They want to see all of them. Well, they
You have
can't
all
see
that?
everything, but I don't have those.
Yep.
You want those.
But they can see the products, yeah. Okay. So, the cool, let's put them right. Yeah, just go ahead right there. So, the cool thing right now is that you can go into our website, squareinasquare.com. There are banners at the top. About every 10 seconds it changes and the banner rolls over. So it may say Quilt Club Week, or it may say Premium Club, or it may say sign up for an email, or something like that. There's also a search bar. So a search bar, you go in there and type Hen House or Megan's Feathered Star or whatever, and it should take you in the website to what you're looking for. So, and of course we're here to help with the text line 817-713-2879, or with our emails. We're here to help you find all of those good things. But we do have stuff on Facebook, but it gets pushed down. You can't find
Right.
it. All of
And
that.
not everybody gets all the posts. You have to
Right.
kind of go in
Because
and
Facebook doesn't always tell you.
yeah,
You've got to
and
go.
to
And some
check
people aren't
that you
on
have
Facebook.
to want
Yeah, and
all of
some
the
people
posts
aren't
and not the
Facebook.
most important
Yeah.
posts.
Yeah.
So anyway, with the Quilt Club Week and with the Premium Club, it is fun, it is educational, it's motivational, it keeps you going, and if you want the social side of it with the Facebook pages, then you can do that. So it's everything right there in your own sewing room with all of your own sewing products. So if you go in and join right now with Quilt Club Week, you can watch while you're waiting for the couple of weeks to come by for our first week of October for the actual new 2022, some live and the recorded stuff. You can go in and watch 2020 and 2021.
Quilt Club Week.
Quilt Club Week. So you can go in and sign up, pay one payment of $57, right? And then you can get 2020, 2021, and the new one, 2022. Now, some of our classes kind of build on what we did a previous Quilt Club Week.
Yes.
Right.
So it's good to watch 20 and 21, have that knowledge already in your backpack so that you're ready for 22, so that when we refer back to something, then you can. So that's always great. Now, Premium Club is an all year. So all year we post stuff. That's where our main teachings go. We have a fall semester, spring semester. We do everything basically is put into Premium Club so that you have that there. There's thousands of hours in there already. We have been doing Premium Club, heavily structured, real, all of that for 5 years now. So there's 5 years of teaching in there. Big projects, little projects, beginner classes, border classes, just everything that you need to have fun and to learn how to make beautiful quilts. Because when you do things the way that, we've got probably 150 years of knowledge between the three of us.
Oh, I feel so old.
Of quilting. So maybe something I don't know, Kay does, something Kay doesn't know, Kathy does. We all kind of have our
Feed off of
special
each other.
teas, the
Yeah.
quilting, the guru of everything, and the square to square. So, she's done a lot of sewing, a lot of things
sewing,
in her
yeah.
on her resume. So between all of that, I think we offer pretty good teachings and knowledge and just a wide variety of things. The other with Premium Club, we stick pretty much strictly to square and a square, science of patchwork, overcutting, those things. With Quilt Club Week, we can come in and add lots of other things
Yes,
that
and
are
we
fun.
have.
because it's kind of like when you go to a quilt show, you go to this booth and you see what they're doing, and then you go to that booth and you see what they're doing, and you go to that booth and you see what they're doing. So that's kind of what we do with Quilt Club Week is that we have the classes where you actually make a project, but then we have the classes that are tips and hints and demos and of how to learn it from the beginning or how to improve on it where you're at. So I want to, we're going to demo the options. Well, not all of them, because there's almost 43 now. By the time we get through with Premium Club this fall, we'll have added 2 new options of 42 and 43. But we're going to show you the basics, the 3 main ones, the option 1 square and a square, the option 3 flying geese, and the option 4 half square triangles. So let's go down here and let's look at, everything starts out like this. And I think this is probably one of the hardest things for people to realize is that everything starts out with this basic square. Square in the middle, strips on the side. Then the different ways you trim it with your ruler, you're going to get your different triangle shapes. And each triangle shape has a number, it's a different option. So option 1, square and a square. Option 3, flying geese. Option 4, half square triangles. So there's basically 2 ways to trim. You either leave the 1/4 of an inch, or you do what we call the 2-step, which is a close trim. And so for option 1, we're going to leave the 1/4 of an inch on all 4. So I just take the 90 on my ruler and I push it into the corner of that fabric square, line the seams up with the black lines. The heavy grid line goes through that corner, trim it up, and you have that perfect 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So you do that, just turn it, do that to all 4 sides, and you have what we call option 1. And in the original ruler, there is a quick and easy book that has 6 patterns in it. All of those are great ones to start with. One of them is just this option 1. We call it Simple Simon. It's a great baby quilt. So for example, we have the white in the middle with the blue. Then we would have another one that is reverse. It would have the blue in the middle with the white.
Great.
And so when you put those together side by side, row after row, you're going to get that flip-flop of color. It's quick, it's easy, it's a great baby gift. It's even the perfect size in the pattern. And that's a great way to learn option 1.
To learn option 1 and to get it.
Any of these quilts in here are good ones to start with and easy to do. And this is the original ruler we've had forever. It works for even these new options that we're doing. The option 42 and 43 you can do right here with the same tool, same ruler. So we have 6 different rulers. I'll talk about the other rulers here in a minute, but that is our quick and easy, our main one. Is that a good place for glare, maybe? There's a little better right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish our trim. So the next one is our flying geese. When you make flying geese, you leave the 1/4 of an inch on 2 opposite sides, and you do a sharp trim we call the Texas 2-step on the other. So you just put your 90 in there and you step it over 2 lines. Make sure the line is right in the point, nice and sharp. Keep it square where you've already been cutting. Whoops, I wiggled a little bit. There we go. So it's going to be a nice sharp trim, and you're going to do that on 2 opposite sides. So leave the 1/4 of an inch on 2 and do the 2-step on the other 2. Anytime you do your 2-step, that's where you're going to cut. You've trimmed it differently because you're going to cut through here. You got to move a point and create a seam allowance in there to get your flying geese. So to make half square triangles, we're just going to 2-step all 4 corners. So we did it on 2 here. We're going to do it on all 4 corners here. And then we cut both directions and we have our half square triangles. So one person requested that they wanted to see a friendship star or a Milky Way star or a 4-pointed star. So this is one of the easiest blocks you can make. We always talk about a 9-patch setting. So see how it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what we want to do is we want to put half square triangles in here. So see how you could just take your half square triangles and put them in there. And you can do a solid square in the middle, most of them are, and then solid squares in the corner. So you just sew them in rows. That's it right there.
That's it?
Yeah, that's
Simple.
it. Great for blocks, great for borders, great for corner sections. Little Milky Way stars are just a very old, simple design that works great everywhere.
And a trick that I learned that I teach my beginners now to, because sometimes you can't figure out which
Where
way
they
it
go.
goes. So like you take this one, you put that one up like this, take this one and you turn it a quarter turn.
One time.
You take this one, set it like this, and a quarter turn. And same thing, set it up this way, quarter turn.
Yeah. Because it does have a little motion to it, a little turning, and that's a great way
Right.
to do that. And also, of course, if you take those out and put those together, you have just a pinwheel. But let's talk about sizing for a minute. Now, this is the main reference book right here, and it's going to have your first 17 options, and those are the options that start out as what we call with a square. These are the square options. They all start out with a square in the middle. So it has your options, and then on page 34, you get up to the charts. Now, the charts are what you use when you're kind of doing your own thing, or you're taking somebody else's pattern and adapting it over to the square and a square system with these basic squares. We have to know what size of square and what size of strips so that all of these turn out to be the size that we want.
Size.
Yeah.
Correct.
12 pages of charts, lots of numbers. Don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
Just go to what you need at that time.
Just look at that. Yeah.
Look at that one.
So if we want half square triangles, well, first of all, let's talk about this simple block. These are solid squares. We can make them any size we want. So if we wanted a 6-inch block, and of course you always work with sewn measurements, and then when you go to your chart, it's going to give you cut measurements, okay?
Right.
But when you're building or adapting, you have to work with these sewn
Sewn.
measurements, because a sewn measurement is just like a graph paper.
Right.
So if you were drawing a pattern on graph paper, that's going to give you a sewn measurement. That's where you have to start. So if we want a 6-inch block, then, and we have 3 units, you divide 3 into 6, that's 2. That means each one of these are 2-inch sewn,
Sewn.
okay?
Or finished.
So if I know that I need half square triangle, that's option 4. So I'm going to come over here to my option 4. And that very first column says what's the sewn size you want of this right here, of a half square triangle. Well, we know we want a 2-inch sewn. So I'm going to run my finger down to find the 2-inch. And then I'll move across horizontally to the right. And it's going to tell me that a 4-inch center and 2 1/4 inch on the width for my strips that I sew around.
Right.
So that's how easy it is to do.
But if
So-
you happen to have a strip that's 2 1/2, you can
Yeah.
just
You can still
put that
use
on
that.
there. But it has to be at least 2 1/4.
Yes, it has to be at least the number in here, but anything wider is
Wider,
good.
you know, if you got a piece
Right.
laying around, just
Yeah,
Throw it
it's
on.
great for scrappy.
Yeah.
One thing
Right.
that I love, since I'm a scrappy girl, I love having a fast way. If you think about all the other ways to make half square triangles that are fast methods, you cannot get different colors on here.
each
Right.
and
All
every
of
one.
them have to be the same color like you see
Right.
here.
Right.
But if I wanted a blue, a red, a yellow, a black, I could do a blue, a yellow, a red, a black, do a different color on each side, and I would get 4 different ones.
Right.
And I can just make
From
one
just
of
one.
these.
Yeah.
I have 4 different
Four.
ones.
Yeah.
Right.
So I love it for when I need multiple
Scrappy.
colors or I'm wanting to use scrappy on there. Because how many times do you have little pieces like this left over?
Left over
No.
from.
It's like, what am I going to do
Yeah.
with them? Well, you
That's
go
right.
in and you can make some beautiful half square triangles. They're clean, they're neat, there's no dog ears, there's no
Right.
prep work.
Right.
Some
They're
of
ready
these
to go.
processes to get to having a good unit, the prep work is so much. It's
Right.
like that's what making the quilt is all about, is the prep work, not actually doing the cutting and the sewing with the
Right.
with the fabric. So I really like something that has minimal prep, and I'm just to dive in
Yep.
and do
I
it.
am too.
Just to dive in and
Yeah.
do it. So those are the charts, 12 pages of charts, how to figure fabrics, all of that. And one question that we get a lot of is that if I have a kit or I'm following another pattern and it says 2 yards of fabric, will I have enough fabric if I adapt it
Right.
over to the square and a square? So what you need to do is look at the design and see where your options are going to be.
Be.
Where are you using a basic square?
Right.
So if I'm going to use a basic square to get my half square triangles, then that's what I need to think about in the fabric. Now, of course, when you're cutting squares, you're going to cut them the same way you do everything. So if you had 2 yards of white from the pattern and it was only doing this. It's fine.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Right.
The only thing that you're going to use a little bit more fabric of are the strips.
going around.
So look at your pattern, see what the options are, and see what the strips will be.
Right.
Because that's the one that we need to figure out what we're going to do
And
with
do.
fabric, and do you have enough. Some people give you exactly like 1 1/8 yards.
yeah.
You know.
I never buy one.
We
of
never
these.
did
Yeah.
that. Well,
Yeah.
especially with kits. I mean, when we kitted,
Kids- oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
oh,
always,
we
I
always
always bump everything up to quarter or a half yards.
Yes.
I always
Yes.
do. You need cleanup
People
cuts.
make mistakes.
You need
and
an
stuff.
oop, just like I did
Yep.
on that one. I ooped,
Yep.
and fortunately it was big enough I could go
You
back
could
in
go back
and
and do
redo
it.
Cut
it.
it, yeah.
But
Right.
if it moves and it goes in,
Yeah.
then
Right.
you know your piece
Yeah.
is messed
You're
up,
gone.
and that just happens. That's life.
Yes.
And so we don't want to think, oh, I've got to. Every little thread is precious. I don't have enough. So
No.
we always figure plenty of fabric for you.
In your
Okay.
kits. Yes.
Yeah, and so, or even in the pattern
In the
yardage
pattern.
Oh, in the pattern yardage.
information.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, because a lot of our patterns are then kitted, and so we want the fabric in the kit to be
To
the
say
same as
what
the
it-
fabric
Right.
that's on the page.
Okay.
So
Right.
then you also have like over 30 quilts in this main reference book, and then if we can, we have broke down the block into multiple sizes. So if the pattern is like for a 12-inch block, well, see here we have a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 10, and a 12. So we've already done
And
the
that's
work
the amount
for
of
you.
yardage you need.
That's
in the
the
blocks.
size, and that's the
That's-
size
Okay.
of block,
Mhm.
the size of these that you
these,
yeah.
need, and then up at the top it will tell you what the fabrics. You know, the fabrics will
be.
do approximately
quantity.
10 blocks
Right.
Okay.
for all of them. So if you only need 5 blocks, then divide it in half,
Yeah.
or whatever
Or
it
you
is.
need
You're going to
20,
make
you
this,
add
but you
more.
want a
If you're
baby
making
blanket.
20, then you
Yeah, or
Right.
you want to
You
make it
multiply
a
by
king,
2.
then you can know how to make it
Right.
And go
Right.
up. Okay, so
Right.
that's book 2, the main reference book for the square.
Now the difference between the book 2 and just the quick one, this one does not have the charts in it.
No, and this one
This
is
one
just a few
just-
pages.
Just a few
Mhm.
pages.
This one's like 150
and that
some.
one is the Bible. You always said if you were stranded on an island, you would take
This
your
book.
ruler and that book, and you can make all the quilts.
And
And
your
we'd
sewing
say
machine.
you needed a
Rotary.
buttload of fabric,
and make sure you
and
got some blades.
blades
Yeah.
and rotary
Yeah.
and
Sewing
a pedal
machine.
machine, and
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I have a treadle.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
I,
You're all
if I-
set
if
then.
I have no electricity, I can still
you
sew.
can still sew.
Yeah.
Yes.
I won't be stranded with that. Okay.
So that's the difference between
Yeah.
those two.
This is just a quick beginner book.
It's easy.
Get
yes.
your feet wet. Everything in there is designed for a new square and a square or a new quilter. So a good place to go.
Yes.
And then when you're ready to start changing sizes and learning more of the units. And we have a special right now on the website where you can get both of these for $65 and save $5. And that's really good because we haven't upped our prices on anything,
Right.
and so we can't really
Yeah.
do discounts because just for the fact we haven't upped our prices over the years, they've
Right,
stayed the same.
right.
So this is book 2, and so instead of doing everything with a square in the middle, we start out with a diamond in the middle. And so we go from options 18 to 39 with that. And then our new options that we've been coming out with over the last couple of years, we have option 41, which is a snowball. We have option 40, which is the 4 triangles in a square, the quarters. And then our new options 42 and 43 will be out this fall. And then we have a new little book, the Hen House book, which will probably arrive today, tomorrow, maybe Monday. I think we'll start hoping to ship those
Next
out on Monday.
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay. And so that little hen house,
I know.
so that little hen house shape is this right here. So we have, isn't that just beautiful when
It
it
is.
pops
I know,
open
it's just
on
so
the
pretty.
screen?
It
We
is.
have our monitor there, and it just
Oh,
opened up, and it was just
It
very
is.
present
It's cool.
and beautiful on there.
very
It's behind
cool.
Jodi in the quilt.
Yes,
Yes.
this one here.
Yes.
Here's the whole, and we're teaching hen house. The book is a 20-page book, and it has the hen house shape in it, and it has 4 completed patterns, 2 blocks, and charts, so that you can make your sizes different. Now we
So
all
for $20?
well, it's normally
sorry.
$29, but it's on sale right now. You can go to the website and get it for $24, so you
Oh,
can just save
$24.
$5 on
I
it.
know,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and you get 4 patterns.
4 patterns.
I mean,
2
nowadays
20
patterns
pages.
are $12,
20
$14,
pages.
15
$15.
bucks, yeah.
For just a
Yeah.
For one.
two-page
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
chart.
pattern.
Yeah. charts.
And the chart for the
Charts.
hen house so
Cool.
that you can make it any
Any
size.
size.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
No, you still need your reference books.
Right,
Your
of
reference
course,
books are your
Your core.
basics, and your Bible, your core.
That's
Yeah.
your core.
So we've made our flying geese, and we've put 3 together. And so instead of having a square in the middle, we now have these 3 flying geese, which are kind of like a rectangle.
Rectangle.
Now we did last week in my sewing studio, I did a lot of lives that are in my sewing room where I talk about the hen house, I do some demos, I show you the stuff I'm working on. So go back to our Square and Square
Until
Quilting
then, I'll
Facebook.
put it in the webinar section. If they're signed up for webinars, they can see those and they don't have to go through Facebook looking
Okay,
for them.
because like we said, when you do stuff in Facebook, it gets lost, it gets pushed back. So he'll take those lives that we did last week in the sewing room, because this is our filming studio, and then I have my sewing room. And so sometimes I'm up there sewing, and I'm lonely and I want to join you guys in, or I want to show you something that I'm working on. And so I just grab my phone and do it. I don't have all the lights and the switcher
Nope.
cameras and all that
Just
kind of
live.
stuff. So anyway, those videos, Steve said he would take those so they won't get lost in Facebook and put them in with the webinars so that you can go in and watch them with the webinars. And to get our webinars, the free ones, just go to the website, squareandsquare.com, sign up for our emails, and then you can go in there and watch the webinars. But back to our little block. So we have to have something in the middle. So like for the basic square, we have the square. But for our hen house unit, we had the 3 flying geese together. So just like this was a square and we sew around it and then trim it up, this is our new center. It's not a square, but it's a rectangle.
work,
But we're still going to sew on all 4 sides of it. And we're going to trim it up, leaving the 1/4 of an inch, just like we did on our option 1s. We're going to leave that 1/4 of an inch, and then you put it in there. It's a square,
and it's a square.
and you've got these flying geese going at an angle, which you can put them in the little booklet. We show you so many different versions of how to use them, but also how to switch colors up on them
Right.
and get
Oh,
different.
you get different,
Yeah,
Yes.
because
yes.
that
I know that
chicken
is so
dash-
cool. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
chicken dash, we did a little scrap here, and the cool
Right.
thing is that we used a color here, so it looks like you have
Four.
four flying geese on there. And this little piece that you put on the end is a 1.5
It's a
by
strip.
2.5.
Yeah.
So how many times do you have a
have those
little,
little pieces,
1.5
yes.
by 2.5 left, and you think, what can I do with it? And you think about having to recut it, resize it.
Yes.
You know, that's a lot of work.
Nope.
But if you can just take that
Throw it
strip
on there.
and sew it on the
Yes.
end, then you're going to get 4 flying geese. So that's just, we kind of take it and just explode with it and expound with it on what you can do. So here, up here, you can see that this quilt is one of the quilts in the book, and it's called Dizzy Geese. And we've done the option 18 to get these long, thin star points. We've done the flying geese, the hen house version, and then 4 little flying geese here. And we even took the hen house over to put it in the border. And so just to think about that as a border is an awesome
That
border
is cool.
to do. It's
I
so
like it.
easy
And
to
when I
do.
like it, you only have it on probably the 2 sides, and
sides.
didn't do it on the
Top and bottom.
top and bottom or whichever
Yeah.
way it goes.
I needed more width
Width.
on my side. I didn't need
The-
any more with
at
my
the top,
height.
so
And
you just put it on the
yeah,
sides.
so when it goes on the bed, these will hang down over on the side, and
And
they're
they're
really
cute.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, or on the back of your couch
Very
or
cool.
whatever. So you look at these quilts and you think these are a once in a lifetime quilt, that, oh man, if I could ever get one of those done or one of those
Yeah.
done, because all of these triangle units, then you would consider yourself, I've been there. I did, yeah, I've been there, I've done
Yeah.
that, I'm good. But with the Square and Square system, all of our stuff is just so clean and neat and
It
nice. You can make these quilts without the hassle, the headache, the struggle.
Right. Right.
And that's
Right.
why I did it, and that's why I fell in love with it, and that's why now for 40 years I make every quilt this way, and I just keep pushing myself to see what else
Can you
can
do?
I
Yeah.
do with my ruler. Because when I made it 40 years ago, what I told everybody that I was working with, my book publisher, my manufacturer for my ruler and everything, I was like, if I can't make a ruler that will do everything but load the dishwasher and put supper on the table,
Right.
then I don't want to do it. I don't want a ruler that only makes one size or one
Right.
shape. I
Right.
want something that is a basic. It's, it's like if you have flour, sugar, eggs, milk
Yep,
in your
it's
kitchen,
just
That's
and a
good. Go to
potato
town.
or a bag of macaroni, you can
Yep.
make
Right.
anything.
Yep.
It's a basic. It's always on my sewing table. It's not a specialty tool that sits up on a shelf or
Nope.
in a drawer, and I get ready
It's
to
only
make
used
a
once.
square and
Yeah.
a square
Square, yeah.
quilt. Oh, I have a ruler for that. Then you go hunting for it and you make a quilt and then put it up. It's not like that at all.
No.
It's for everything.
Right.
Okay, now we had a question about pressing on the hen house, because since I showed these in my sewing room last week, and of course Premium Club members, are more on top of what I'm doing all the time on a regular
Right.
basis. They're like, this is Quilt Club week. I want to get started on my scraps. What do I do to get started? So we took 2 1/4 inch squares of color, and then surround strips. All of mine were scraps I had left over from Jingle Jangle and Star Jingle
Star.
and something else I did. Anyway, I had all these scraps, and that's what promoted me to do this. Is
this.
how can I use little
Big
squares
little
of
squares.
color and all these scraps. And this is my dirt. This is my dirt, tattered and torn, that you can get on the website. I think it's a beautiful one, and you'll need 6 yards of your background, and then just scraps for your squares.
Yes, Mr. Steve.
Well,
Come on, speak up.
speaking of, somebody's wanted to know which ruler to use on all that you've shown so far.
One ruler.
Same
One
ruler.
Yeah,
Same ruler.
one ruler. The original square and square
original.
ruler.
Because she knew you had several, and I told
Yes,
her
but
you
this
would-
is-
that
yes.
you'd
Yeah.
show them later.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yes.
about the other rulers here in just a minute, but this is the main
is
This is
the
one.
the
core.
Yeah.
core.
Now, the question today that came in for the hen house was the pressing. So really, when you remember the 2 main rules for pressing, I have 2 main rules for pressing. The first rule is that when you are doing your basic square, you always press so that that solid square is flat. So when your pieces are on here, I always say press open, because you're opening up your
Right.
pieces and pressing, which makes that center square flat.
Flat.
So that's the number 1 rule on pressing. So I'm telling you these 2 main rules because
No
when
matter
you-
what color you're using.
no matter or
Because you
size,
Whether
know,
it's
or
dark
size,
and
whether
there's-
it's dark or light,
Yeah.
you're still going to press out.
The
Don't
same-
worry,
mhm.
that's not.
right?
If that's a white in there, don't.
Yeah, because everybody
Or,
uses
yeah.
good quality fabric. Nowadays, our lights are not a thinner
Right,
quality
right.
like they used to be a long time
Right.
ago, and that's why that pressing rule was a rule of press to the dark, because the lights were thinner
Thinner, and
and
you
lighter,
could see it.
and
You
if you
could
pressed
a
a dark
shadow.
to it, then you could see it over here on the other side, that
Right.
dark showing through. But we don't have to worry about that
So
nowadays.
throw that out the window.
Yeah, that old rule doesn't still
Apply.
Yeah. Okay, so number 1 rule, press so that that center square is flat, press those out and away. And then on flying geese, we have a rule that if you're putting 2 or more flying geese together in a running row, like we have here in our hen houses, so when you look down here, you can see you have 2 or more, we have 4, we have 3, that's 2 or more. So if you're putting them together like this and you have 2 or more, we press with what we call breaking the beak, which means this seam is this is the beak of a goose, this is the wing, this is the body. So this is the beak, you're gonna break it. So that means that seam, this seam is coming back to the same block. It's not gonna be pressed up there.
yeah.
Right.
So let's look here on the back. So when you see this one,
Let me come in time.
yeah. So when you see this one of the 4, you can see how there's the beak. So if you pressed it flat, it would be like that.
Right.
But we're breaking the beak. We're pressing it back into the bird. And so we're in Quilt Club Week. We go into great detail with our pressing on all of this, but break that beak and come down. So if you have flying geese, 3 flying geese in the middle of your square, here you can see how we broke the beak. So all of those are flat like that. And you may think, well, that's some bulk there. You know, why are we doing that? Wouldn't it be better if we pressed that way and we wouldn't have as much bulk? But what this does is it's like putting, I always say it's like putting a bridle in a horse's mouth. It directs the geese how to fly. If you press it like that, those geese are going to fly left and right,
That
willy-nilly,
seam will be.
loose as a goose, wild goose chase, all of
Right.
that. They're not going to be straight. And when you have multiple geese, you want them straight. You
Straight.
don't want them starting to serpentine around.
Right.
So that's why we press that where we break the beak. Now, so those 3 flying geese become our square in the center. So when we get these strips on and we have our flying geese in here, the question is, how do we press? Well, we press out.
Press out.
So see how these are all pressed out, which helps keep that flying goose flat, because they're not coming back like that.
Right.
Right.
Now the other
Right.
one is that press to the least activity. So press to the least activity. When I look in here, there's no seams.
Right.
Right.
So a seam is an activity. It's action. It's movement. So press to the least activity, break the beak, and always press so that center square is flat. So if you'll remember that about pressing, you'll pretty much know how to do
Yeah.
everything
Right.
as we go along.
Right.
Now, Kay does a lot of pressing open when there's a lot of bulk and stuff, and I do like that too. I don't do it in my options,
No.
but when we start putting options together and
Together.
building a block, anytime we need to press a seam, we can open,
Right.
we can, and we do that, and we show that, and teach that and all that. Okay, so, we're going to talk about some more products, but Steve, do you have a question from anyone?
Well, we have about the quilts behind you. You want to talk
We'll talk about those in a minute.
Okay,
Okay. And yeah.
that's it.
They
That's
just
it.
want to know about the quilts behind us.
Yeah,
Not
the
a
names
spec-
of them.
Okay. We'll get to that in just a minute. We'll get to those in just a minute.
Okay, okay.
All right, let's finish on our products, okay? So let's just show the 6 rulers. So this is the Quick and Easy book with the original ruler. The first one, if you're just getting one, that's a great one to start with. We had people asking for a smaller shape, and I'm like, we don't need a smaller ruler. This ruler does every size. And they're like, yeah, but if we're working with smaller, or if we're working in a smaller environment, a smaller tool would be great. So once again, I thought, okay, how can I add something to this to make this even more than just square and square?
Right.
So we added a 4-inch corner square on it. So anytime you're like
Working
in
with
the
small
one of the
square.
videos
Right.
that we did for
Right.
Quilt Club Week, we needed to go in and trim
And
something
trim
up
something down, and that
and
would
get
have
it
been
true,
yes.
and so that one would have worked. We used the grande,
Grande.
but this one with the 4-inch would have worked too.
Yes.
So and it also cuts all of your options 1 through 43.
Right.
Okay.
And it does the same thing as the bigger rulers, just a smaller
Smaller.
version.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Plus
don't
the
need
corner.
both of them, but it's nice to have.
It's nice
this
to
one
have
when
it if you're
little.
doing smaller ones.
Yeah.
Well, and when I
And
did
when-
it, I was like, oh, how often am I going to pick this one up over
Yeah.
this? And
Right.
once I had it on my table, I use them about half
Half.
the
Do ya?
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this one doesn't have anything to do with the size of the unit,
No.
the size of the block, or the size of the quilt.
Quilt.
It
Right.
they don't have anything to do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The bigger ruler doesn't make bigger quilts.
Quilts,
The
no.
smaller ruler
Doesn't
doesn't
make
only
small-
make
yeah,
smaller.
smaller
They
quilts.
both still do everything. In fact, I
Right.
think every quilt I've made in the last 40 years, there's probably only been 2, maybe 5 that this one wouldn't do.
Worked.
You know, because of it, the pieces just got really
Right,
big.
too big.
Yeah,
Right.
I needed more whatever. Okay.
Right.
Then we have the grande. Let's see the grande. So in 2020, we were doing a lot of videos and teaching online because of COVID and the pandemic. And some things came up that people wanted. And one of the things was cutting the diamond in the middle. So we have to cut a diamond here in the middle for the diamond options. We've always taught with the original how to
Right.
cut those diamonds, but people still struggled with it. And I'm like, this is so easy. What can I do to make it easier? So this grande ruler actually came as a brainchild because we needed a better way to cut
the diamond.
our diamonds. So that was the
Okay.
first thing I started with. And then I kept saying, what else do we need? What else can it do? So all the different things that it can do, and there's a great video on the website. Just go to the grande ruler, watch that video. It will show you all those things. And even just this week of Quilt Club Week, we added something new that the grande could do.
Right.
That it couldn't do. At the moment, I can't remember what that was, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah, I'm not
We'll,
sure.
but I was like, oh, that's another thing that the grande can do.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we help square up the hourglass block.
Yes, but I knew it could do that. It was something else.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, well,
I don't know.
maybe I wrote it down in my notebook. I hope so.
I hope so.
So anyway, the ruler started out so that we could cut the diamonds and make it easier for everyone. And then we added the stuff to cut the square units. It doesn't have the 120 and the 60 on it to actually trim this
it,
up
right.
after you get your diamond made. I didn't want the ruler to have so
All
many
that.
rules. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
lines on it that
Right.
it's
Just gets
difficult
confusing.
to look at. And that's kind of what was wrong with this one. There were so many lines on it that people couldn't see it. So I wanted that part simple. And then also it, just like this one has the 4-inch corner square, this one has a 9-inch corner
Yes,
square.
which makes
so
it nice.
allows you to cut bigger. Obviously 9 inches is larger than the 4. And go in and watch the video on the grande. I'm not about tools and gadgets. I'm really very simplistic. I just
Right.
like a few things. Like even something that
Yes.
someone was showing the other day. I was looking at it and I was like, well, I don't need that. I can do that with the grande, you know.
Right.
So I'm always trying to. I just really want to simplify my tools. I don't need drawers and drawers full of
rulers.
Of
everything.
rulers,
Yeah.
that's right.
And so you can go in and look at that, see everything that it will do. And once I got this on my cutting table, actually I had some ruler that was wider, and longer like this that I use a lot, because when you fold your fabric in half to cut,
Right.
sometimes you need more than
You
6
need-
inches,
right.
you know, but you don't
Right.
need all that big long length
Correct.
that
Right.
hits you in the belly and all of that.
Yes.
So this was a size of width and length that I used a lot, so I made sure it was that size. So anyway, thought about if you bought all of the rulers separately of what this one will do, I figured it up and it was like $130.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes.
even though the ruler is $40, there is so much you can do with it. If you bought it separately, you would have spent over $100
Right.
for all of it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now, when I look at quilts, I see the triangle units, and of course, the triangle units are what we get with the options, and that's what we use the original rulers for, the square and a square rulers for these triangle units, these options. But the other thing that you have in a quilt is you have patches. You have even patches, like 4 patches. We have the little quilt we taught with the
Right.
4 patch.
Patch.
And then we have 9 patches. So all these triangle units, 4 patches, 9 patches, that's all there is in
Right.
quilts. That's
Right.
all there is.
And they
So-
go together nicely.
Yes.
I mean, the stars with a 9 patch and put them in the
borders and
middle or the
everything.
borders.
and the
yes.
9 patch, and you can put anything in the middle of your square.
Yeah,
It doesn't
right.
have to be
4
a
patch,
You
9
can
patch,
do a 4 patch,
whatever.
9 patch. We've got patterns like that. Option 5 is put anything in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my rulers help remove the human element. The human
Right.
element is the cutting, the sewing, and the pressing. So I really want to remove that because that's where we lose our perfection. So I want to do all the cutting and sewing and pressing in one form, then use a ruler to trim it up, and we have perfect shapes and
Right.
sizes. So the 9 patch works when you have odd numbers of patches coming together. So 3, 9, 15. Anytime you have odd
Right.
numbers of patches coming together, you can use a 9 patch. And then when you have even numbers of squares coming together, then you can use the 4 patch. And 4 patches will not make 9.
Nope.
9 patches will not make 4. You have an extra strip, you have an extra seam, and that changes all the lines on the ruler. So
Right.
once again, if I could have put both of these together, but the ruler would have been really big and it would have been really pricey. And,
Lots of
and I don't think
Lots of lines.
I
yeah,
don't think,
and I think
yeah.
he would have looked at it and said, okay, what do I do
I'm done.
with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And really, everything I do, it's about the lines on the rulers. It's not about the numbers.
Right.
So many times you pick up a ruler and it's about the numbers on the
Right.
ruler, But on mine, it's about the lines. It's about the lines matching up with seams.
Seams.
Right.
So that's what mine are all about. So those are those 5. And then we have, Kay and Kathy came up with this wonderful binding tool. It's the shortcut binding tool. And in Quilt Club Week, how many new things did we add
Oh,
I know.
that this could
yeah,
do?
several
The
new.
prairie points, the double-sided,
Sided.
And the flange with the double
Double
side.
sided.
the flange with the double-sided. So
Yeah.
just like we
Yes.
keep doing more and more with this one, we keep doing more and more with this one.
Yes.
So Kay and Kathy are just doing some teaching, and don't have the shop. They're not doing
Right.
shows anymore, so they're just doing some teaching. So they were like, this little ruler needs a home.
Yes.
It needs to be able to go with
With
the
the others,
others, and
yeah.
we all
With
shipped
the
out
group,
together and
yes.
everything. So
Yes.
we actually bought the shortcut binding tool copyrights from
Yep.
them.
Yep.
And so all of that is here now as in a square family. So I just think that's so cool
Yes.
that we now
Yes.
have that one to go
I'm
with
so
it.
proud.
Well, and if you
It's a great
haven't, if you do
accomplishment.
have trouble putting bindings together, we created it so simple. I mean, we put the measurements on there to cut your
Only the
binding
measurements
and
you
your flange.
need. Only the
Only
lines
what
you
you
Only the
need.
lines
That's the
you
only
need,
thing
yeah.
you need for your
Yeah.
bindings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you put your tails together in a very simple way.
Yeah.
If you know your left from your right and top from bottom,
You're good to
you
go.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And we've got-
it's just so simple. A lot of tutorials
A
and
lot of great
videos
videos on our website
that
and on
you
YouTube and
have
stuff to
that
go.
they can go back and
you
look
can
at.
use that angle. You can use it to put it together, your tails together, whether you want to do it by hand or
by
machine.
Right.
by machine, yes.
But this, it's great for doing it by machine. You get
Yes.
your flange and
Well,
everything.
like you said in one of the videos we did this week, you were like, we were at the shop, we were producing
Yes.
quilts,
Yeah.
and the binding was holding us
Holding us up.
on getting these quilts
Things
finished.
done.
And
Yeah.
so, once again, necessity
That's
is
right.
the mother of invention. And you were like, let's get something that'll help us get
Things
to the
done.
period,
Yeah.
to the end
Yeah.
sooner.
Yes.
So those are the 6 tools. You've seen the main books. We also have the Melee book, if you want to
Yep.
pull that one out right there. We've got the Melee Women book. And the Melee Women book goes with the novels. And if you read the novels and the quilts that the girls make in the stories, then those patterns are in here. And one of the classes we're teaching during Quilt Club Week is a version of our Megan's Feathered Star. You're going to get to see a little tiny bit of it today, but I don't want to surprise it.
No, we
I don't want you to
show
see
you everything.
all of it.
No.
Yeah, all at once.
We're giving you teasers.
So that's the different products. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and let's do your straight line quilting after this
Yeah,
one.
that's fine.
Okay. So this one is from our Megan's Feathered Star, and we've changed it up. We've added some things to it, and I just loved when we did this one with
Yes,
the filming
yes.
because
Yeah, okay, there we go.
so
This
this
is part
star-
of the Megan Star. This
yeah.
is,
Yes.
Mhm.
We're
So
only
you can-
showing you a little
yeah,
bit
we're not
of
going to
it.
show you all of it. We want
Yeah.
it to be a surprise for Quilt Club Week.
Yep.
So you'll get a little bit on day 1, you'll get a little bit more on day 2, and then you'll get the final on day 3, and then we'll have a handout for it. But I do recommend the Mainly
Mainly,
Women
right.
book that has the Megan's Feathered Star in it, if you know, for the
Kind of-
in-depth
right,
concept of it. Yeah.
Right.
So this, let's get those little white, are they in there? There they are. Let's show. Okay, so when you look at this, you just see all these corners and you think, oh my gosh, how do you do that? You know, that's going to be difficult to do. But it's so easy. It's just a 9-patch block. So there is our snowball. So here is our option 41 snowball, and it's got quilts and stuff in it, but it also has the chart. So we took the chart,
Right.
but the size we wanted wasn't
Wasn't
on
in there,
so we show you
we
how
kind
we
of show we
switched
give
it
you-
up,
Right. Give you the
to
measurements.
get the size we need.
Right.
So the snowball is when you just have these little corners here in the middle. So when you see here, you see your square, and then you have these little corners, these
Right.
little triangles in the corner. And so this open spot is what we create with our
Right.
ruler and with our
Correct.
square and a square, and being option 41. So look how when you take that simple little snowball and you put it with this one, we've used the option 40, and we did a version of it so that we could get a little triangle here. But to think that we could do that with the square and a square and not have to cut and sew
So-
all of those little triangles. And the other thing when we were filming was like, bam, because when you do your option 40, you're going to get all,
Get all of
Four
of
of them at the
those
same time.
Same
at
time.
the same
Oh, I didn't
time.
realize that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, from one
From one block.
basic
One
square,
huh?
Mm-hmm.
you do your process of your option 40, and you're going to get all 4 of those sections.
And you get your colors because you're working with 3 different colors.
Yeah, and sometimes
And
that's
we'll
the
show
hardest
you,
thing.
you know, where those color placements are when you're making your square.
And give you some tips on how
Right.
to help.
And this
with
is in
that.
Quilt Club Week.
Quilt
Quilt
Club
Club
Week.
Week,
Yeah,
yes.
it's this one, the version of the Megan's Feathered Star. So this right here, I can see people taking what we've taught on that and just
That's
making
really cool.
a whole quilt.
Yeah.
And this looks so, it's so
It's-
fun,
yeah.
but it looks hard.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you
And
break
it's
it
not,
down, it's
yeah.
not. Yeah. So of course here we have our 4 patches with our flying geese. We talk about color and how to trim
Right.
on those because we talked about how that's the hardest part of the
Is to
whole
get the
quilt.
color
to
and
get
correct
the
is
spot.
to
color
get
and
the
the correct
colors
spot.
and the trimming because the colors are important and the trimming's important. And then now that we can do half square triangles and get all these nice points for a feathered star is just pretty amazing. So I can't wait for that
That is
one
so cool.
for
I
Quilt
just
Club
love it.
Week.
Is Southern Skies in Quilt Club Week?
Southern Skies is in the Maley book, but it's also in the Hen House book.
Right, but the video.
The video, yes, will be in. So let's talk about that one now.
Is
So
it
we'll
in
do that.
Quilt Club Week or?
Yeah, Quilt Club Week. So
Okay,
you're
okay, so
yeah. So you're going to have a flyer that is your Hen House. It's a 20-page little book. I shouldn't say flyer, but it's a 20-page book, and it's going to say Hen House. It's going to look a lot like this, and we show you the 4 quilts that you can make, plus the charts, 20 pages, and some blocks. So this right here is Southern Skies. When you have a hen
Oh.
house, your option 18, and a hen
Cool.
house. So in Southern
Yes.
Skies, we did an option 1
Yeah.
in here, and the hen house goes out instead
Right.
of circling. So it's Southern Skies.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
go out.
It does go
So all
out.
we did was
Uh-huh.
turn these
Uh-huh.
and put a plain square here instead of option 1, because with all of these beautiful triangle units, we didn't need an option
You don't need
1.
anything
No.
in there.
It didn't
No, you don't
add-
need it. No.
It didn't add to the quilt, and it would take more time.
Right.
So just the plain, beautiful, simple star, and then with all your dizzy geese everywhere. And this one is called Dizzy Geese. We could have called it Dizzy Chicks.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It got named Dizzy
Well, the geese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the
Yeah,
geese names,
yeah.
so yes.
So, well, some of the blocks are chicks.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
Chicks in
okay.
a Row
Yeah.
and Chicken
Okay.
Dash and
Yeah.
some
Okay.
of those
Okay.
are in there. So that's that one, and then of course here. So Southern Skies and Dizzy Geese are very, very similar to do, and those are both two of the big main patterns that are in the book,
Okay.
in the Hen House book.
In the Hen
So
House
you
book.
can get it in the Hen House, and you can get it in Mainly Women. Now, lots of times we don't put the same quilt in multiple
Right.
publications. But I wanted them to pick up the Hen House book and have everything
Right.
in it,
There.
Right.
there, and not say, oh, now go to your Melee book
Yes.
and look on page, I think 44 or whatever for your
Right.
Melee. Yeah, so that was that.
Well, cool.
Okay, so this one here is the carpenter's wheel. We call it, I think, revolving star. This one was made by one of my premium club members, Sherry. If you're a premium club member, I think everybody knows Sherry. She's our prolific quilter in the group. It seems like you blink and she's got another
Yes.
beautiful quilt
Another
done.
idea.
In fact, I haven't seen her post it yet on the premium Facebook, but I got a picture
You got a
this
picture
morning
of a new one.
of a version of
Oh,
her
yeah.
Yes.
of her Dizzy Geese, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, she's already got that baby done. It's probably about a 40 by 40 kind of wall hanging one that she did, and she did something special in the border. So we'll show it
Yeah.
during Quilt Club Week too on that. But anyway, this one is the carpenter's wheel. It's one of the 30 plus patterns in our main reference book. There's 97 pieces in a 12-inch block. Now, I'm going to tell you a funny story because one of my youngest son, when he was, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10, he went with me to a little quilt show somewhere around Oklahoma City. And he was helping me in the booth, and I promised him that when we got through with the shows, I would take him, because we lived in rural southwest Kansas, and I promised him that we would go to a go-kart track, because the boys really loved that, and we didn't
Yes.
have any of that around. So we had a little notebook in the glove box, and every time I went into a quilt store or something and they had to wait on me, they got to write down 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And they got to where they would say, oh, Mom, you were only in there 15 minutes. Don't you need to go back and stay a little longer? Because we did a trade-off. They would do something nice for me that took time to be patient about
Right.
what I wanted to do that I loved. And then I would take them to the go-kart track, however much time
You had, they had
it,
available.
and then
Yes.
that's how much time they got.
That's cool.
So it was a trade-off. So they were really like, okay, we're up to 2 hours now.
Yeah.
You know, 2 hours at the go-kart track. So anyway, he had gone with me to this little quilt show, and you know, he was going to take the money, and the fabric was already all cut, so he was just going to take the money at age 8, 9, 10, run the cash register and sack it up. So of course, all of the women would come by and, oh, you're so nice to help your mother, and oh, you know how to count change, and you know, all that. But after 3 days of this, of course, he was done.
Done.
So it must have been about the middle part of the second day. He said, Mom, he said, I want you to talk to the ladies and run the cash register. He said, I'm going to demo, and I'm going to show them the quilts. And I'm like, okay, do you know, I'm thinking, okay, you know,
Okay, yep.
do you know the Texas two-step? Yes. Do you know how to leave a fourth of an inch? Yes. I said, well, you know, I had the very first quilt of this hanging up in the back of the booth, you know. And I said, what's the name of that quilt? And he goes, Mom, I've listened to you for 2 days. He said, I know how to do all this. I said, what's the name of the quilt? He goes, it's the carpenter's quilt. He said, it's 97 pieces in a 12-inch block. Because he'd listened to me say that over and over all that weekend. So this one is put on point. And, you know, some of these quilts like this back 40 years ago when I was making them, this was a quilt that would have been in a box unfinished
Right.
because I wouldn't have been happy with the way it was going together and looking. But with the system, it just allows you to do all of that. In fact, I think this one was maybe the one that I did, or the Prairie Claw, was when I figured out how to make the flying geese.
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to make that quilt, and I was like, I've got to figure out how to make these flying geese because there's a lot of them. So
Right.
anyway, the block's on point. Anytime you put a block on point, it makes the quilt look more
Different, complicated.
pizzazz than what it is, even though this is a good pizzazz on its own.
Right.
So when you look at the block, it's basically a section here, a skinny section here, and then a section here. So here we just have option 1. We need 4 of those. Here we have flying geese. We need 4 of those in black. And here we have half square triangles. That's all there
That's
is.
it.
Option 1, 3, and 4. Option 1, 3, and 4 make everything. I could go through almost
Right.
every quilt that I have, and I could show you 1, 3, and 4, 1, 3, and 4, 1, 3, and 4. So if you learn option 1, 3, and 4, you're going to be able to make every quilt that you want to make just with that. So I have this one up here. This is one of the ones that, so when Quilt Club Week comes in October, the first week, that Wednesday night will be early bird. And you have to be signed up and in Quilt Club Week to start getting all the teachings from Wednesday night, all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday. And lots of times we'll do a bonus class on Sunday. Just, because everybody's not ready to be done.
Right.
One more
Right.
little thing.
One more day.
But
one more day.
on Monday and Tuesday before, maybe even Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before, I'm going to be doing lives like this that everybody can come and watch, and I'm going to be teaching a quilt.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be
cool.
one of them that we teach during one
Okay.
of those.
Oh, cool.
And we have kits for this. They're already on the website. You can get your kit and be ready to roll if you want. But the carpenter's wheel will be one that we do. So you need your original ruler, your main reference book, and then if you want the kit, if you like it in these colors, then we have that kit ready to roll. Okay? So, I have that one up there because I get all these little text messages and from the text line and Facebook and everything. And so I have this one up here because, and I'll put this picture down here, Steve, if we can zoom in on it, we can see her colors. She's used 3 colors. She's used a black, a green, and then I think this may be my dirt background. I don't know.
Looks like it.
If not, it's very similar. But here's the text. Proud of my mom, 85 years old. 85 years old, and
85
she
she
made
did.
this. Yeah. She took a break from making children's dresses for missions to make this quilt. My pictures do not do her work or that of the long arm quilter justice. Love your books and your teaching. So I like to give you real messages and things that other people
Inspiration.
have said
Right.
to help encourage you that you can do it too. Maybe you're 12 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe you're 85. Anybody
still
in
do it.
between.
They can do it.
You can still do it. If you set your mind to it, you can still do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're here to help. So I just wanted to show that one. Okay, Kathy, let's look at, do we have any questions, Steve? Let's put
No.
these up.
Well,
And
Sure.
Kathy's going to talk to us about,
put a link on Facebook and YouTube on how to sign up for Quilt Club Week. But you can also just go to the website.
there's a link on YouTube and Facebook of how to sign up for Quilt Club Week, but you can also just go to the website and there's a banner at the top.
Yes.
And about every 10 seconds it'll spin to the next.
Well, no, it's less than that.
Okay.
Like every 2 or 3 seconds it
Okay.
spins.
Well, you told me 10 seconds.
Well, I meant to get to the 4th one.
Okay.
It may take you 10 seconds.
Okay. All right. So Kathy is our guru of quilting on not a long arm, just a home domestic machine. She has in our premium club, she has taught long classes in there, and then in Quilt Club Week, she teaches a lot of demonstrations on how to go in and do stuff. And in premium club in August, we started with every Monday, and there's like 10 or 12 or 15 videos
even
that
remember, yeah.
Kathy has. So every Monday, our premium club members are getting that quilting on just your regular home sewing machine, how to quilt your quilts. And then in September, we'll start with my piecing and the quilts I have planned for that. And then October is Quilt Club Week, so we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So go in and join Premium Club. You can join and start with any class anytime. You can join our current one that's going, or you can go in and participate in one that we did in January or 2 years ago or last year or whatever. Just go in. And the one thing that I love about the website, our teaching website, is it keeps track of what you've watched.
Yes.
So you can go in and see, I've watched half of that video, or I've watched all of that video. I'm ready for the next video in that series of there. And with Premium Club, we do a fall semester of classes, anywhere from 10 to 15 classes once a week in the spring, January to May. Once again, we do 10 or 15 classes. And I really, this one that we did January to May of this year was on borders. It was just exceptional, if I have to say so, even myself. Because
It
not
was.
only did we teach borders, we taught the options in order. And it was.
It was.
You would think borders are kind of advanced, but it was also very
No.
beginner of learning the options, and not just how to make the 4 quilts that we worked on, but the in-depth techniques and inspiration and ideas about, okay, you can take an option 9, you can do it in this color, you can sew it this way. Well, here's another version, here's another version, and then how to figure the sizing on all of that.
Right.
And then the January to May before, we did a block of the week. Kay actually
Right.
made the quilt for me and had all my samples for me, and then I taught each week. And that one was just really so much knowledge and depth. And so all of these classes, whether they're our basic ones or whether they're the quilting ones or whatever, have a lot of information in them. And you watch them over and over again because the second time
something
you
out of
watch
it.
it,
Yeah,
the
you'll
third
see
time you
something
watch
else.
it, you'll see something else. Okay,
Right.
so tell us
And
about.
Premium Club, if you join Premium Club, you get Quilt Club Week.
Yes,
included,
if you join
so-
Premium Club, then Quilt Club Week is part of it. It's what we call our celebration. So,
Right. And it's like taking a class every day.
yeah,
I mean, you could do every day listening to it.
yeah.
Because when you go, as we've talked about before, when you go to the show, you know,
Yeah.
you take it now, 3-hour classes are over $100.
Plus all your,
Plus all your
Supplies
other
and
supplies,
stuff,
and
yeah.
usually end up with one block.
Yeah.
and you know, I love sewing
And-
in my
and
sewing room
that's-
at my machine.
Yeah.
I have
comfortable.
everything I want. I know, you know.
And
it's
I
like
can go
that.
at my own pace.
Back
Instead
it
of
up.
trying to figure out what to do in 3 hours, I have 6 hours for that day or the next day. And the prices that you have are just,
Yeah,
So
they're
economical.
minimal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Quilt Club
Minimal.
Week, you can join and get the 2 past Quilt Club weeks and our new one for $57. You can join Premium Club for $177. Get all of the Quilt Club weeks plus all of the Premium Club stuff.
Right.
And then if you join Premium Club, you have like a 2-week time period to order the books
On your
and
products.
the options and the rulers and stuff and get a discount on your products.
Yep.
And you only get it for a certain time after
Period.
you join. So that's a good time to do it. And, you know, I hate to say it, but don't just get the original ruler.
Right.
Use your discount to get as much
as you
can,
possibly can.
because it's going to be better for your discount and better for the shipping. And later you're going to watch another class and we're going to use a 4-patch or we're going to use a binding tool or whatever, and you're going to be like,
Right.
man, I wished I had
That.
gotten that. So, all right.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
on to, I'm
So-
sorry, question? No, okay.
So during Quilt Club Week 2022, I'm going to be doing an in-depth look at how to straight line machine quilt. It's a hands-on practical thing. You'll see me how I set up my area to do machine quilting, and then we will this is the quilt that I'm working on. If you want to do it
To make a sample.
to make a
and
sample,
to be ready.
Yes, thank you. You do 6-inch squares. There we go. 6-inch
You might have to
squares.
move it.
Which way? Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's just 3 by 5, right? 3
Yeah.
by 5. There's 6-inch blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strips at 1 inch. You don't have to do it. It doesn't matter. But this just makes it. I wanted to show you guys pretty simply how easy it is to do machine quilting. If you have your own project that you want to work on, that's great. And then I wanted to show that you can, let's see, yeah, this one. Over here, this is also done with the walking foot. So this is a gentle curve that you can do. So if you feel uncomfortable doing free motion, this is a nice, easy one to do. It's a stencil. I'll probably have you get this stencil, Steve. And then on the back you can see
Yeah, you
how,
can see it a
how
little bit
pretty
easier.
the work is and stuff. So very simple. I'm also going to talk about troubleshooting your
I love the
machine
troubleshooting one.
quilting and tension.
Yes.
That's a couple of the things that everybody gets hung up on. You know, oh my goodness, my thread breaks, or you know, my tension's not right. There's loops on the back. Well, I'm gonna address that.
Very good. I think I'm really looking forward to that one on the troubleshooting. That's really great.
And then we've put our binding on here, the binding,
we've got
the
our
binding
nice
and the
flange.
flange.
It just makes it look so cute.
Yeah.
It's
It
just-
just see how you need that spark.
It's just
of
a pop
color.
of color.
It sets it
Right
off.
there. Yeah.
Just pops
It'd be
it.
beautiful with the green and blue, but you add that and it just gives it that
It pops
pizzazz.
it. Yeah. It's that pink
like that.
salmon color, whatever it is. It's so
Right.
pretty.
Rosy.
This was just all scraps. I think I probably had a box of it. It was probably in a little shoe box that I have. And these were all the fabrics that was left from something else. And I thought, it's going to be gone. I'm using every piece of fabric.
You are. You know,
I mean,
and it's so
I
funny
am.
because I even made a mistake on this and I corrected it, how to correct the mistake that I did, because when this is pieced, you had to
Well, yeah,
piece
because
this
these
together
were,
because
yes,
you didn't have
because
enough.
I didn't have enough.
yeah.
And
of-
so
of
like
that fabric,
I'm
yes.
just sailing along, and all of a sudden I was like
Oops.
I was
Right,
like
yeah.
going the wrong way or something or other. I was coming up
Yes.
here, and I got off track, and I was like, oh, that's a piece, but that doesn't belong to this block. That belongs to this block.
Right, because
So-
I ran out of big enough pieces of fabric,
Yep.
so I just added 2 little pieces to it.
So I was just sailing along, and I made a mistake, and so I corrected it on camera and showed how to do it, and and went on. So
You know, I love antique quilts and vintage things, and we're going to show some vintage fabric coming up here in just a minute. But when you said that about how you ran into a problem and you added fabric or whatever,
Yeah.
in my collection of old quilts, some
yeah.
as old as 200 years old, I
Right.
love to go in there and see where they've done that.
Right.
If you go in there and
Yeah.
look, you can
At a quilt.
see
Yeah.
that
that
they,
they didn't
had
have
to do
enough.
something. Yeah, they didn't have enough. And one quilt that I think I've only shown one time, and it's the burned quilt. If you read my
Right.
novels, it's the burned
Yeah.
quilt that goes along. She has taken little tiny pieces. I mean, not any bigger than those that we cut off today. And this is my great great grandmother that made about 200 quilts in her lifetime. And if you read the stories, that's who Liz is. And she's a prolific quilter, just like my
Yeah.
great grandmother was, great great grandmother. But anyway, it's this beautiful quilt with these butterflies on it. And I remember years ago when my mother showed it to me for the very first time, we were actually talking about the family history of all the fires and the burned quilt and all like that. And I said, whatever happened to that quilt? And my mother said, well, I have it. And I'm like, well, I've never seen it, you know. So she went and got it and showed it to me. And the thing that amazed me was how she took these little tiny pieces of fabric and sewed them together to actually get a piece big enough, about like a normal leaf, to get a piece of fabric big enough to make the wing of the butterfly. And as I looked
Wow.
at her butterflies on that quilt, I realized she didn't do that to make the butterfly beautiful.
no, she did it because she didn't
did
have
it
enough fabric.
Because she was of that
Still have
fabric.
that
And
fabric.
then
Yeah.
because of that, it made those wings of those butterflies just exquisite.
Wow.
You know, because she put all those little pieces
Yeah.
together to get a piece big enough to make a butterfly wing.
Yeah.
And so one of these days I'm going to read. She worked in the garden, and then when she couldn't be in the garden, the vegetable garden, or with her
Wintertime.
flowers, then she was inside appliquing. She did a lot of string quilts, scrappy string quilts that they called utility quilts.
Right.
And they would just
Right.
and all thick and bumpy with
Right.
the cotton, you know,
Sure.
and everything. And
Right.
cotton that I'm sure they grew because
Grew.
they were
Oh,
cotton
yes.
farmers. And then in the wintertime, she would do applique. I always said that she brought her garden indoors.
Inside.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she would do some applique
Yeah.
quilts.
And you're talking about those novels that you, the 3 novels.
The 3
that you
novels
have,
that I wrote.
and those are just wonderful.
Yeah.
They're stories
So
of
it's,
her family, so they're
yeah.
really.
Quilts, I haven't shown
pretty.
them during this week or talked about them. And then the Melee book is the quilts that are in those novels. But it's Threads of Home, Threads of Change, Threads of Courage, and then the new one that I have started but I haven't had time to work on is Hope, Threads of Hope. And my little granddaughter that's 10, Lydia, she actually named this one Threads of Hope.
Oh, did she?
Because of course she's got
She's
all the
read
books
'em all.
memorized.
Yeah.
She reads
Yes.
them over and over again.
Yeah.
She can tell me, you know, on page 49 when Liz was whatever, why did so and so happen that way? You know, well then I may tell her the real family history story and then tell her how I had to
How
mix
you
it,
had to
you know,
write
it.
in
With
with the
something
book.
else,
But
yeah.
it was pretty good. Okay, so
Now the fabric. Oh,
Then
goody,
I
goody,
drum roll. Okay, so these are what we call our vintage prints, and got a hair hanging around
Yep.
somewhere. So these are the ones that are our new fabrics. These are our vintage print line. There are 17 different pieces of fabric. We have gotten notification that they are finishing up on them and that they will be shipping. We're hoping that they'll be shipping by the end of the month, but then it's several weeks before we actually get them processed and shipped out ready to go. Now we always do a great promotion on our fabrics when we get it. So the best way to know about our fabrics when they have come in and to get a part of the promotion, the sale, and to get the best price is to go into our website and sign up with our email list. You will get an email that says our fabric is coming or it's here or we're ready to sell it or promote it. And the best time, I'm different with these are all my prints, it's my fabric company, and I am different than the traditional fabric world. Because when my fabrics get here, first thing is when I offer you the best price they'll ever be. So, and you have to order 3 yards or more of that same color, but if you do that, you're going to get the best price. Now, obviously our world has changed and everything has gone up dramatically. I expected last year my fabric that I got, you know, the last half of the year, I kept expecting them to tell me that my prices had gone up and they'd gone up, but they didn't. They'd kept my prices the same, so I was thankful for that. But now it's been some time and the fabric has gone up. So we're working on a promotion so that you can still get a good price and our sale price of our fabric. But what I think is going to happen is we're going to send the email. We're going to say it's time to order your fabric, and the price will be what we've always done before is $9.97. So we're still working on that. We're still hoping that we can offer that at $9.97, $10 a yard. But our regular price is about $14.50, $15.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a $5
Nice.
savings a yard.
Yeah.
Now you have to order
Wow.
3 yards or more, but
But
that's
still.
a $15 savings, which is like 1 yard free.
Yes.
But now that's going to be a real limited time.
Right.
You're going to
Oh,
have
very
either
limited.
2 days, 3 days, at the max, 7 days to do that.
Oh, yes.
And then when that 7 days is over, it's going to go up a little bit, still on sale, but it's going to go up, and then it's going to go up, and then it'll be the regular price.
Price.
Now-
Do you want me to,
Do I want you what, baby?
to go down tight? Are you ready to show yet
Yeah,
or no?
yeah. Show it. Yeah. So obviously you want to be on the email list so that you know that the fabric is here and get in on that very short window opportunity of being able to get it at $9.97. So we're giving you lots of warning.
Mhm.
It's going to be at least 3 weeks before we offer it, I would say.
Or
Probably at least 3 weeks before we offer it. But if you'll get on that email list, then you'll know about it when we have it, and you won't miss that great window of opportunity. And now that you can see it here, you can kind of take a screenshot of it, and you can start thinking about the different prints. You can even cut them out and lay them together to start designing what you want to do, and then that way you'll be ready to go with, you know, that I want 6 yards of this, I want 3 yards of this, I want 5 yards of that. All of these are going to be great in everything that we do.
And since we have these now, we'll be able to put them on the website and actually see them more up close
Yes, we don't.
in the next few days or weeks.
Yeah, we've kept Steve really busy with all the filming and everything, and we just got these, so these are not on the website yet. So this is the only place right now that you can see them. So this one here is kind of like our focal print. This is the Flaming Buds. I just love every one of these. I've got so many ideas in my head for every one of those. I just can't wait. Now, this one I think would be great in the center of your Dizzy Geese.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you wanted to use one of these in your Dizzy Geese, and then use some of the reds for your points. And then, you know, just the rest of them all will fit into that Dizzy Geese Scrappy, just so beautiful. So you have 3 colors of the Dizzy Geese. Notice how you have a dark, you have a medium, you have a light. Yeah, in there. And a focal print. It's hard to find focal prints that are medium and light. So
Right.
usually they're all dark.
Right, they're all,
Yeah.
yes.
And then this one is a little vine with a little flower, and you can see how we have kind of a greenish brown. We have the black. I love this little goldish pumpkin color.
It kind of
It's
pops
just-
everything
yeah.
out.
I'm going to
It
use a
pops
ton
it.
of
Do
it.
you want me to go tighter or no?
I think it's okay. And then you've got kind of your turkey red, your rusty red on that one. And then this one here is the bow tie. I love these with the bow tie. I've got some great ideas for these. I really love having some of these golds and some of these greens and browns. We
Right.
haven't had some of those in a long time. So I'm excited about that. And all of these go together in a quilt. You could
Right.
put every one of these together in a project. And then this one is the fuzzy leaf. And in this one we have a tone on tone, so we have a nice background. So on this one right here, I mean, order
I would order a bolt.
10, 20 yards. I mean,
Yes.
you can't have enough of this one.
No.
This is one that you're going to be able to go back to and just use over
use
and
over
over.
and over.
I love how these look at those two together.
And then with the green,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
pop that green, and then
Yeah.
a dash of the gold
Yes.
in there. Mhm.
Just gorgeous. That's good. And that, a lot of times people are wanting some of this farmhouse look. That's kind of the, what do you
Right.
call it, the monochromatic or whatever.
Right.
You could put these and one of these green ones together, and oh my gosh, it would be just so beautiful. Just so beautiful. So then we have, notice we've got different shades of greens and browns because you need that flavor.
Right.
You don't want it matchy. You want it different. So we have a green, a red, and then another light. Kind of, this could be a nice medium or light. You could use it as a background very
Right.
easy. So this one right here is another one that you should order multiple yards
Right.
of. Multiple yards. And then we have our sticks, our vintage sticks. We have a more of a traditional black, kind of a mossy green, our red. Which way do we need to
I'm
go?
not sure which way.
That way.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, rusty red and our greens and our blacks. So some of these are kind of all hooked together the way they send them to me, all on one piece. But you see that with some of those. That's just wonderful. And then this one with them, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. Right now, this is all I have. It's just a little tiny square of them. But hopefully I will have, should have about 10 yards of each of
Each
them,
coming.
maybe within 2 weeks or something. So I'm kind of
So you
holding
can
off.
play.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
kind of holding off on
Yeah.
some of my samples for Premium Club as long as I can. I may have to fly you girls in and
Hey,
and
that sounds good.
slip a lot of
All right.
coffee in you so that we can get some stuff made for a Premium Club. But I really want to use these in as many samples as we can for Premium Club.
Sure.
So
Or we'll ship us the fabric and.
No, I like the idea of coming down.
coming
making
down.
just come on down.
We
Come on
can have
down.
breakfast with
Yeah,
Oh,
we
Steve.
will
yes,
make
we can have
with
breakfast,
us,
yes.
So the best way to know about the fabric and get in on the sale, we're giving you kind of a heads up now and start, rat holing you some money in there. And you kind of know, those of you that have been with us, you kind of know how we work our fabric and our sale. But if you're brand new, we're going to give you a very short window from 2 days to maybe 7 days to get it for the lowest price that we can offer. I'm hoping that we can do it for $9.97 a yard on that very first sale for that week.
Wow.
And then after that
Can't find
week,
fabric for that price
no, especially
anymore.
the quality
No.
that we have.
Right.
Yeah, most all fabric is
Well, it's
that $13 to
$13 to
$15.
$15 it's gone up to,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah. A lot of that, is just how our shipping has changed because of the gas and oil prices and
Sure.
everything. We actually were told just this last little bit, even though we've been doing this for years, that every 2 weeks shipping changes.
Wow.
Really?
Every 2 weeks,
Really?
the shipping world changes their rates or how they do stuff or whatever.
At least Ocean does.
Yeah, the ocean
Ocean.
shipping does.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's where everything's coming from, so.
Yep. So we have a really nice little mill that we've worked with forever. It's just a great little company. I really enjoy working with them. They work hard. They want to make it just exactly the way I want it.
Well,
and,
good.
and I love that because they really care about, I want that color changed or that leaf
Right.
twisted or whatever. They really care about making
That's
it that
good.
way.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah, instead of saying, oh, that's pretty enough.
Yes,
you
that's
don't
pretty
need it.
enough, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need
Yeah,
it
you
anymore.
don't know.
It's pretty enough. They're like, no, okay, let's do that. So
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Because you've been working on this to find this correct one for
Yes.
Yep.
a long time.
Quality
Yes.
of fabric
Yes.
and
Yes, and I-
To
exactly
get
I went through
everything
some-
tweaked.
oh man, 20 years ago when I first
Yes.
started doing
Yeah.
it, there was
Yeah.
Yes,
there
you
was some
had
bad
some little
hiccups,
bumps.
but
You had a lot
but
of
we
big
got
bumps.
it all
Got
figured
it-
out.
got it
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, any questions or comments or anything from anyone?
They're all liking the fabric. I was
Are they?
reading the-
Oh, are they loving the
Yeah.
fabric?
Well, I
Good.
hope so,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I always try to, and the thing about my fabric is that like, the big design house designers, they may have 40 pieces in a collection, and they may have this in like 8 different pieces, but
Right.
there may be one piece that what is quilt shop owners we would call
Right.
dog fabric
Dogs,
because
yes.
they're going to
Oh, yeah,
buy.
there's always 2 or 3
You get
in
the
that.
42
Yes.
bolts,
Yeah.
and 21 of them are the ones people
Beautiful.
buy.
Yeah.
And
then
so
the other
people
ones
buy those and you sell out, But now all your profit is sitting over here in these,
Right.
you know, that we
Right.
call the dog
Dogs.
fabric, because those are the ones you're going to have to mark down. You're going to have
Or
to put them in a
figure
block
out
of the month. You're going to have to figure out a way
what
to
to use
move
Use them up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're not just the ones that they just grab off the
Right.
shelf and just say, "Oh my gosh, I've got to have a piece of that," you know.
I think we're getting.
I think we're getting like,
So all of these would go together. All of these would go in every quilt. The two that are like the backgrounds, make sure you get
Lots.
large quantities of
Lots,
that. I
lots.
mean, 10 yards,
So
20 yards
pretty.
is not not
that
bad.
piece.
And then like on these other ones that you would use as a focus print, you know, I'm not going to want to cut that if I use that as a border. I'm not going to want to cut that. So you're going
Right.
to need at least 3 yards.
3 yards.
You know, just for those borders. You know, on those like this, on these here.
Right.
So, and of course, you're going to have to get 3 yards to get the sale price.
Right.
So these girls have got something crazy worked out here.
Well, who knows? Okay, Steve, change it back to all of us.
come look at us.
Come look at us, okay?
You're
Terrific!
terrific. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching us, and you know we are long-winded, so you know you may have to take a break in between to finish
But that's
watching
what Quilt
it.
Talk is about.
this is
It's
what we
like
do.
We get
We
together
talk.
around a table with quilters and it goes
And
crazy.
we talk, and we can talk for hours to
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, did you see this new
Yeah,
whatever?
that's
Or how do
right,
you-
that's
you know,
right.
that's
Yeah.
what
Right.
Quilt Talk is all
Yep.
about.
Yeah.
Yep, you
We're
can
hoarse.
listen to us. You can listen to us while you're sewing or whatever you want to do. And then
Yep.
when you see something interesting, look at it.
Then look
Yeah.
at it.
So-
That's right.
Anyways,
Yes.
That's right.
thanks
So-
for having us,
oh,
Jodi.
you
Yes,
guys are
Jodi,
so welcome.
thank
So
you.
I have to go home tomorrow.
I know.
And it's gonna
Yes.
be it's kind of, you know, like after the grandkids leave. It's like you take a deep breath,
Breath
but then
and
it's
then-
like, oh, it's so quiet.
And thank you, Mr. Steve,
Yeah,
for
Thank you.
the donuts, the coffee, the bacon, the lunches, the
breakfast,
and
dinners.
we love you too, Steve.
Thank you guys for watching. I really want you to come join us for a Quilt Club week and for a Premium Club. You'll have a great time. You'll learn a lot. You'll make some friends. You'll be encouraged. Your knowledge will increase. Your quilts will look more beautiful. It'll be an all-around good time and good for you. So we hope to see you then. Thanks so much for watching
Have a fabulous Friday and a great weekend.
and putting up with our silly